Today we are going to study one of the most important episode in the history of Christianity in India, the Synod of Diamphor or the Synod of Udayamperu. The Synod of Diamphor is probably the most famous episode in Indian church history. It is famous not as a model of an ecclesiastical assembly but for the extraordinary nature of its decisions and their effects. Arriving at Damphor on June 9th, that means 11 days before the synod was due to begin, Meneses brought with him the draft which he and Father Rose had prepared, continuing page upon page of decrees to be submitted to the synod. They covered all the main heads of Roman doctrine and sacramental teaching. All points mentioned in the agreement with George the Archdeacon, all the chief difference between Syrian and Western practice, and many details of administration. He called together a small committee consisting of 8 leading Syrian priests, 4 laymen, and 6 Jesuits, to whom he read and explained his draft. Some amendments were accepted to decrees concerning the local working out of his proposals, but in major matters, Meneses would allow no alteration. The synod itself, beginning on the 20th June 1599, was a very large one, attended by 133 priests, 20 deacons and subdeacons, 660 lay representatives, in altogether 813 persons on the Syrian side. According to some sources, there were only 2 churches which did not send delegates. It was thus a thoroughly representative gathering. With Meneses were Portuguese clergy and the captain and the officials from the Portuguese settlement of Cochin. An armed escort was also in attendance. After the celebration of the Mass, Meneses, explaining the reason for calling the synod, announced that he had done it because Pope Clement IX had entrusted the government of the Malabar Church to him until the vacant diocese should have a bishop of its own, and that in any case it belonged to him as metropolitan and primate of the Indies, the diocese being vacant. He then inquired whether it pleased the synod to meet and treat of the correction of heresy, union with the Pope, and reform of church practice. Those present having indicated agreement, a Syrian priest with the name Jacob of Palluruth or Jacob of Palluruthi was appointed by general consent as the interpreter of the proceedings and to read the synod's decrees, which were to be in the Malabar tongue. 2 Jesuits were appointed to help him. It was then agreed that none of the members of the synod should depart from the town without leave until all the business should be finished and the decrees signed, that there should be daily celebrations of both the Roman and the Syrian liturgy for the success of the synod, and that there should be no private or sectional meetings of members without the consent of the archbishop. At the second day session, on the second day, the main business began. In that day, Meneses, kneeling, robed at the altar and holding a cross on the gospel book, made in his own name and in the name of all a solemn profession of faith according to the form published by Pope Pius IV in 1564 after the Council of Trent and known as the Tridentian Profession of Faith. In the passage towards the end, which provides for the repudiation of all heresies, there was inserted a definite condemnation of Nestorianism, and afterwards came an explicit repudiation of the Patriarch of Babylon and a promise to accept no bishop but one sent by the Pope. That means the second day they were asked to take an oath in which there is a definite condemnation of Nestorianism, or in other words, definite condemnation of the Patriarch. And afterwards came an explicit repudiation of the Patriarch of Babylon, and also a promise to accept no bishop but one sent by the Pope. After Menaces had risen, the Syrian clergy and laity were required to make the same profession, but as soon as they were made aware of this, many of them protested. After he had pacified them, George, the archdeacon, made the profession, and then all the Syrians present repeated it, kneeling on their knees, the words being dictated to them in Malayalam by Jacob of Palluruth. After this, first the clergy and then the laity went up to Menaces one by one and took the oath, kneeling before him. But the objectives were not all satisfied. For the third session began the reading of the decrees, defining doctrine and laying down in details the consequent changes in practice that were henceforth to be observed in the Malabar Church. The clear renunciation of Nestorianism and a statement of the Catholic faith strongly Western in tone. Clear renunciation of the Patriarch of Babylon and insistence on the duty of obedience to the Pope instead. A fairly full explanation of the 7 Roman sacraments with many detailed provisions concerning their use and manner of celebration, arrangements for administration, division of the church into parishes, provision of ministries, feast and fast to be kept, etc. Then miscellaneous provisions concerning life and manners, example, relations with non-Christians, superstitious practices, etc. The remaining sessions were occupied by the long recital of all these decrees, which were accepted with some occasional demur but no serious opposition by the Syrians. And the synod came to an end on June 26th. It was a complete triumph for Menaces. After the synod, Menaces resumed his visitation of the Syrian churches. This time he spent 4.5 months among them, going about with impressive ceremony and distributing gifts, as at a place called Kalurkat, where, so the story goes, he caused a certain kind of sweetmeat called Kolukata to be distributed among the children, and each child was delighted to find a gold coin inside. He sometimes took occasion to speak to Hindus, and it is said that some were persuaded by him to become Christians. He also even tried to persuade the king, the Raja of Cochin, to become Christian, but without success. He sailed away from Cochin and reached Goa on the 16th November 1599 to find that he had been appointed governor in his absence. After 10 years, during which he combined the 2 offices of archbishop and governor, he was recalled to Portugal in 1609 And so he passed out of Indian church history. Thank you.